Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today is episode 2 of the pros and cons of buying a new build versus a resale home. So I want to talk about, we already covered the pros and cons of purchasing a new build in episode 1. So if you haven't seen episode 1, pause this, go watch episode 1, and then come back and watch episode 2. So in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of buying a resale home. One of the biggest pros is the house is already built. It don't get no bigger than that, right? So with new builds, you typically have to wait on average 4 to 5 months to even longer for your house to be completely built. And it can even, the reason it takes longer is supply and demand. So some of the supplies that are needed to build your house could be low. So they have to wait to finish. I know when I was going through the process of my house being built, they actually finished sooner than later, but there was a delay. So they have a target schedule, like anything, where they want to be finished with certain stuff by a certain time. So my house was put on delay because of a shortage with lumber rather. So with a resale home, you don't have to worry about that. The house is already built. It's there, standing there. You can see it, you can touch it, you see everything, right? So that is one of the biggest pros. Another pro is because your house is already built, the inspector is, in my opinion, more thorough. With my new build home, they assume because it's new, there's not a lot to inspect other than making sure that everything was built up to code, right? So basics. Whereas with a resale home, they are crawling in crawl spaces. They crawl in the crawl spaces of a new build, but again, things are new, so they're not, in my opinion, looking for every little thing, like as with a resale house. They want to make sure that you know all the ins and outs of what's going on with that home so that you can make a conscious decision on whether you want to buy that home. So with a resale home, they will let you know if the roof is good, bad, whatever, it needs to be replaced in a year or two. If it's already been replaced, they can tell you what are the original things in the home versus what's been replaced, so that you can basically say, okay, yeah, I want to buy this house, or no, I'm going to pass on it, or how much additional money I'm going to need in order to repair this house. Okay, so that's another big pro that I feel, right? One of the cons that I will talk about, let me go back to another pro. Another pro is the address to that home is already established. When I got my home, it took, once my house was finished being built, it took almost 2 years before my address was registered on Google Maps. So DoorDashes were going to the wrong places. Packages was a nightmare getting our packages. But with a resale home, the address is established, services have been established, so things are much quicker to transfer into that home, your mail, your utilities, and all that stuff. It's not a lot of things that you have to run through to get that house set up, right? So that's another pro to buying a resale house. On the flip side, when it comes to cons, is everybody else is looking at that house. When I bought my home, my new build home, they have so many people who are interested in the land, but it's first come, first serve. So as soon as you put down your deposit on the land, that's yours. As long you get approved for the construction build, that house is yours. With a resale home, you might have 10 or 15 people looking at that home and putting in bids, right? And some people overbid because they really want that house. Now, the thing with that is when you overbid the asking price, the appraisal and the mortgage, if you're not buying in cash, the lenders are going to want to look at to see, hey, is it worth it to us to take the risk to lend you this money when you're going way over asking price and the value? And in most cases, they're going to say no, which means that you're going to have to come out of pocket with more cash, right? Or you just get outbidded. So that is one of the cons of buying a resale home is you see a home that you really love and you're like, oh yes, I can see myself in this house. And then you put in an offer or bid or whatever, and